best thing about sailing is how diverse it is. Some people like to sail off the beach boats. Some people like to sail big keel boats in big teams. My special guest today likes to sail solo on small boats across big oceans. He won the Mini Transat in 2019. Welcome, Ambrogio Beccari. Thank you very much for jumping on board with us today. And we have another special guest, Elisa, our Ronstan delegate from over in, I think, Palma, you said you are at the moment.
Exactly. So, hello.
Elisa's going to be here to give us a bit of a hand to help with the language barrier. And so, yeah, let's get into it. So today we're going to talk about the minis. We're going to talk about the Mini Transat because it's a fascinating race. And then we're going to jump into future plans that you might have, you know, maybe some Momokas, maybe Volvo Ocean Race, who knows. So I'll jump into it first. Tell me a bit about the Mini 650 because there's a whole heap of different types. There's the Progo 2, Progo 3, and now the Pronto.
Yeah, exactly. There are two main categories. There are series boat and production and prototype boats. The series are cheaper and simpler boats. And then you have the proto where you can do whatever you want. So canting, keel, water ballast, wing mast, foils, everything. And so actually there is a boat for everyone.
Beautiful. And the new ones that I see have got the foils that hang out the side. Are they much quicker?
Well, in the Mini, there are not big teams. So for a full foiling boat that are quite complex machine, it's still quite complicated to manage the boat. So for the moment, the foils boat, I mean, they are quicker, but it depends really if they are safe or not, if they are well maintained, and there is a huge work behind a foiling boat. So for the moment, it's not so easy to say that a foiling boat is faster than a floating boat.
You started with a Mini 6.5 after a wide career. I mean, you've been sailing like as a skipper on both normal keel boats and catamaran. Then you done laser 4000 and different regattas on keel boats. Then you started with the Mini. So actually, what did it bring you to choose the Mini, and then in the Mini itself, how do you find it? I mean, the most challenging things on board comparing to other boats, for example, I don't know, crew boat.
But I think that the most challenging thing is about physical energy and mental energy. Because when you are with a crew, you can always trust someone else when you are really tired or you're injured or something like that. But when you are solo sailing, this doesn't exist. So you are alone, and everything depends on you. And I think this is a huge school of sailing, but. So it's really complex also.
So, but and it gives you also different feelings. I mean, it must be anyway a big challenge for yourself, I guess.
What? Sorry?
No, I mean, it must be a big challenge for yourself. So
yeah. For me, it was a big challenge because. But I think that everyone that starts in the Mini are not a complete sailor. I mean, there are a lot of young sailors, a lot of passionate and really not experimented sailors. So we are almost everyone are just starting their career in ocean sailing. So it's difficult because you are just starting to learn everything about solo sailing, and it's funny, but sometimes it's a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Because it's too much.
Do you want to tell me a bit about the double hand aspect of the Mini? Because there's solo, but there's also double handed. And how much different is it to have another person on board?
There are a lot of double-handed in the Mini, and I really love it because actually it's a little bit more relaxing mentally, but physically I think that it's almost even harder because you are pushing a lot more, and but at the end you are when you are sailing you are alone because the other one is resting. So at the end I think that sometimes a double-handed race could be even more hard than a solo race, but I really love it. But no, not everyone loves it because it's not really easy to find someone to navigate with for just 1 week, and I mean it's a lot of time in a really little space, so you have to find a good partner.
Ah, very good. Yeah, I reckon it would be really tough, both single and double. It must be so mentally tough, and you must be a mentally strong person to be able to do it and win.
Yeah, I think you have to be really I don't know if it's tough, but really relaxed. You don't have to panic too much. I mean, you know that it's gonna be hard, but little by little you can manage everything.
On the other side, you have also, yes, so when you, as you said, when you're alone, actually you have other challenges. So it's you can't rely on a teammate or I mean on your partner. So you
This is
have everything. Everything is set up. Yeah.
It's being solo because. But it's the exciting things also about it. So the psychological parts of the solo sailing, it's really difficult. So sometimes also the VHF radio can be a big boost, or a really bad thing. If you discover that by the radio that I don't know that someone is going faster than you, or just they don't have problems, and you have full of problems on your boat. I mean, this can be really hard to manage on board because you are alone, and it's I mean the simple thing can be really hard.
Yeah, in fact, about this, actually, I wanted also to ask you what about, I mean, what happened, what you have to do to prepare yourself and the boat to the solo racing, which is, yeah, can be the Mini Transat, but also there are many qualification regattas for it. So how does it work, all of it? I mean, can you explain a bit about the preparation and?
I did 2 Mini Transat campaign, and they were completely opposite. I mean, the first campaign in 2017 was the discovery of the ocean, of the solo sailing, of offshore sailing. So I had a really old boat. My goal was to arrive, and so my preparation, it was all about discovering how to rest, how to feed yourself, how to live in a really small boat for more than 2 weeks. So I was more stressed about the transat, and my goal, it was not only to perform. So my preparation was a lot about being relaxed on the boat, because if you are not if you are if you have a panic all the way down, it's not gonna be fine. It's not
Yeah.
gonna be fun at all. So the second transit was completely different for me, because I choose to do it because I was sure that I could be better on the race. So I had a new boat, and then my preparation was all about performance, but without forgetting that if you are not arriving at the end, there is no performance. So I was more experienced, but with this I could better prepare my boat. So I knew that I need a lot of spare parts on the boat, so I almost have had everything double. And I actually I built the electronic system, the electrical system, all the hardware it's
Wow.
needed installed on the boat. So I really know everything about the boat, and so I was really relaxed about the technical parts, because even if I had broken something, I would know how to repair it and quickly.
And that
So-
makes a lot of difference.
Being from Australia, you don't get too many minis down here in Australia. So I just tell me a bit about the Mini, because there's the prototype and then there's the production boat. So talk me through the differences between a Pogo 2 and a Pogo 3 and a Pronto.
Yeah, well, the Pogo 2 and Pogo 3 are production boats. So Pogo 2 is the most common boat, the most common series on the world. I think that they built more than 130 boats. And now they are completely out of performance. I mean, they are not really fast boat. It was my first boat. It was really hard to sink. And it's almost indestructible, but it's an old design, so it's not really fast, especially when there is a lot of wind. And now with the new generation, we have a really big bow. So this kind of boat are named scow, and so they are shorter, but I mean on the line length, but they have a lot of more power. So when there is more than 50 knots, they are always faster. And during a ocean race, there are often more than 50 knots. So 15. So the new generation boats are really fast and really nice to sail, because they are easy when there is a lot of wind. And then there is the prototype, and the prototype you can find whatever you want. So you can have, now I am sailing on a boat that it's the last prototype on the water.
Mhm.
And there are T-foils and T-rudders and
Oh,
a
wow.
canting lifting keel. I mean,
Oh,
there is quite a huge kilometers of rope inside and outside the boat. First time I get in the boat, I just really don't understand how to survive in a little space like that. But then I never sailed in a boat that give you sensation like this. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I mean, I've seen some photos of the ones with the T-foils, and they just look phenomenal. I just can't believe how quick a small boat can go. So it's very
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean the Mini are quite really good boat, especially downwind. But the new foiling boat, they are amazing. You can go with about 20 knots when there are 15. So it's
Wow, that's
it's
great.
just amazing.
They must just ride the waves so well.
Yeah. The problem is that exactly. The problem is that when there are some waves, the problem is that the surface of the water is not really stable. So you can have a lot of turbulence on the foil, and so the boat gets really, really unstable. So you are more like a dolphin than an airplane. But so the first time I sailed on a foiling boat like this, I understand that there is a huge potential, but you need a lot of hours on the water to go 100%.
And Elisa was just, before we started the interview, she was telling me that you actually have to qualify to get into the Transat. You must do a lot of ocean miles prior.
Yeah, not too much. I think that qualification on the Mini is really well done, because it's not too much. At the end, the Transat is it's around 4,000 miles, and to qualify you have to do 1,500 miles in a race, at least one solo race, and you have to do a 1,000 miles non-stop alone without assistance. But it's not a race. It's you that you are going to do at least 1,000 miles in a loop. So at the end, you are doing 2,500 miles to qualify for a race that is more than 4,000. And but this sometimes it's a lot of people think that it's too tough, but at the end it helps a lot the class to avoid a lot of accidents, because at the end every 2 years there are like 90 skippers that cross the Atlantic with the Mini, and it's almost two edition that there is more than 90% of the fleet that is competing in the race. And if you think about this number and the numbers of other ocean race, it's unbelievable. It's super positive.
Very positive numbers. That's really good.
And there is a lot of unexperienced guys also. So I mean, it's good to help the guys that they are new to get some experience before crossing the Atlantic solo.
Yeah, definitely a good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, in fact, I was thinking, I mean, it's impossible that somebody can actually start for a race like that without preparation. I mean, even if you want to, but you have to make some qualification. At least is you learn a bit more about what to do. So yeah, so in the you explain a bit about the boat preparation for this kind of race. What about your preparation? So you train physically and mentally. You have to learn how to sleep, how to eat, all sorts of different things. Can you explain a bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, the week of training, it depends a lot of which part of the season you are. But I just try to spend most of the time in the water as possible during the autumn, because it's 1 year from the race. There is a lot of wind, and you have to understand how to sail fast downwind, because it's the most essential parts of the ocean transatlantic race. It's about that, and so at the beginning it's really, really important to understand which are your weak parts, and so it's and this when you discover where are your weak part, you can plan your training of the year. And so I choose that I would like to improve my downwind strong wind sailing. So I just understand it was really, really demanding physically, because autopilots are good, but not still good. So you have to helm a lot. Find every time the wind is changing, find the new balance, and if you are not well rest, or if you didn't if you not have food enough in the last night, the day after you are gonna be too weak. This means too slow. So my week was about 3 days, 3 days for a week in water, sailing, and the rest was about yeah, exactly what was physical preparation. It was the first campaign that I did something about that, because it demands a lot of time also. And after was about technical upgrade of the boat that needs a lot of time also. So you think about how to improve your reef system or your bowsprit system. I mean, there is a lot of rope also on a serious boat, so it's nice if you have a light and tough system to play with.
Yeah. Wow. And are you still making this also with the proto boat? So
Yeah. In the project, it's even much funnier because now we are working on the system of the rake of the rudders. So it's nice also to understand how how does this change the balance of the boat, and I mean, it's super funny.
wow, must be a lot to learn. I mean,
Yeah, a lot to learn, exactly, because we have T-rudders on this boat,
yeah.
and the goal now is to have a stable boat.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. We have really to find out how to do it, and we are more. I mean, we are more looking at the airplane than the sailing boat. This is the funny thing about it.
So tell me a bit about the race. You got to manage your sleep. I mean, a lot of people must think solo. How does it work? How do they get a sleep? How long is the sleep period on the boat?
Actually, this depends a lot of your mental stability. If you are not feeling too stressed, or if you are not terrorized about what you are living, the sleep is gonna be fine. But it's not so easy to do it as to say, and also it's really hard to stop racing, because actually when you are going sleeping, you are getting your autopilot, and you know that you are going to be slower for the next half an hour. So it's hard to accept it. So at the beginning of my career on the Mini, I was never doing this, and so after 2 days, I was really tired, and I was really bad at the end. So I understand that I mean, actually it's good, and you have to accept that for the next half an hour you're going to be slower, but you can think better about your strategy and something like this. But for sleeping, I sleep 20 minutes a time actually, and
Wow.
at least 4 hours a day. But it depends about the race. If the race is really short, you can really try to sleep not too much. But if the race is more than 3 days, you have to find the rhythm. If it's not, it's gonna be complicated.
So 24 hours in the day, and you're only sleeping 4 hours of the day in 20-minute periods.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you wake yourself up? How does that work?
It's adrenaline. I think it's adrenaline. I mean, it's a race. So the nice part of the solo sailing that the race it's during 24 hours no stop. So even if when you are sleeping, it's a race. If you fall asleep faster than the other, you're gonna be faster. So if you're gonna awake faster than the other, it's gonna be a little gain. So it's funny. You are always in a race.
So have you got an alarm to help you wake up? Because it's after 13 days or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it takes you to cross the thing.
yeah. I have a really loud alarm, really noisy.
Wow, that's fascinating. And food, like food's an essential part because there's a lot of energy getting burned.
Yeah, absolutely. But with this, I really have no problem. I love to eat, especially by the sea. Uh, we I ate not dry food, but it's packed, but already cooked. So you don't have to rehydrate this. So it's already cooked, and you can just heat it up. It's fine. No, the food part never scare me a lot.
That's because you are Italian.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you definitely make good food. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So, and a very interesting part that I never understand is how do you make decisions when you have to tack, you have to do something to jive, to use your first Jennaker, the second Jennaker, this, and how do you read the chart papers and the meteo? So how all these come together and makes you doing the right decision?
Yeah, well, at the end, it's about doing a good, how do you say in English, a good routes. So it depends also about which kind of sailors you are. If you want to take a lot of risk or you don't want to take a lot of risk. So I really not taking too much risk. So I'm not doing too many miles, and I'm staying quite near the
Drum
routes.
line.
And
Yeah.
so at the end, during the training, we are working the select. So the table that tells you which sails you're gonna sail with. And it depends about the intensity and the direction of the wind. So at the end, it's just about procedure, and at the end, it's like normal sailing. It's as on the other boats, but you have to think a little bit more far. That's all.
But when you receive the data from the meteo, how long those? I mean, how much are they are? I mean, how much you can rely on it, and how can you can trust them, and it's like you know that maybe some wind is shifting, and then you take your decision in consequence. But
Yeah, absolutely. You actually we have meteo only during the transit because it's a long race. But in the other race, you start with your meteo and that's it.
okay.
You can ask the meteo to the station on the ground, but that's not really reliable. But it's really, really different from the Mediterranean sailing. It's really stable and easy to predict here, a lot more than the Mediterranean. And during the transit, we have one appointment for each day on the radio, where we receive the meteo for the next 3 days, and we can absolutely rely on this. but it's not so easy to do I mean, you can do the overall strategy, but you cannot do the tactics with this. I mean, it's not really how do you say, I mean, we have some wind in one zone and we have some wind in the other zone, but these two zones are 300 miles away one from the other. So you don't have really accurate meteo, but you can really understand the general situation. So the strategy you can do with this.
So
and then you see the what happening around you, and then
Yeah,
you decide.
just really, as my coach said at the beginning of the second leg, that I was really lost because I really don't know where to go. He said, but look around you and say like in a bay. So sometimes it's just normal sailing, and you have to sail with the wind that you have.
So you won the race in 2019. What was your edge? What made you finish ahead of the rest?
What? Sorry, I don't understand.
What was your advantage? What made you win? What was?
Yeah. But at the end, I was faster downwind. At the end, I think I was quite faster and never took too many risks. I managed to sail a better routes in a 2 or 3 situation that were key moments, like the first cold front in the Biscay Bay. I was the first to tack and to hoist the code zero to go more south, and at the end I had some advantage in the key parts of the race. So and with a better speed in downwind, strong wind situation, it was hard to beat me.
And how close are your rivals? Can you see them? Because you're all pretty similar boats, and you speed's going to be pretty similar, being similar boats. So how are they on the horizon, or are they gone? You just don't see anyone for days.
No, you don't see anyone for days. Yeah. No, but even I mean, at the end, at the first leg I arrived 2 hours before the second, about after 9 days of race. That is not a lot. And no, I never see him after the first cold front. I never see him again. No. So for 8 days, I didn't see a boat.
And then you cross the Atlantic, and how does that go? Do you when you finish? How far ahead were you at the end?
Yeah, no. At the end of the second leg, I was really far in front from the others, because at the end I had like 40 miles of advantage in the middle of the race. Wow. And then in front there were always a little bit more wind. So I was in a really better position, and I arrived with more than 24 hours.
Oh wow, it's a great win.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I am the only boat in serious boat that arrived with trained winds. The other, they arrived with really light and not nice winds.
And was there any protos back then in that race as well?
Yeah, for sure.
And was being in the Pogo 3, were you kind of with them, or were you?
Yeah, I stay with them when there was a lot of wind, because they get scary a little bit, a lot more faster than on a serious boat, because the proto boat are really fast but also really light, and so when there is a lot of wind, it's quite complicated boat.
So now you are training actually with the proto for the next Mini Transat?
No, for the moment I'm training on this boat, because this was a really complex year for everyone. So before I was training on a Figaro for doing the Age d'Auxerre, and it was canceled. So I found this to continue to navigate and to continue to improve technically. And I'm really happy because it was exactly the thing that I would like to do. But no, I don't think I will do a third Mini Transat. My goal is
Enough.
enough, absolutely enough. No, my goal is to build a class 40 and do the next 2-3 years in the class 40.
Wow.
We will see.
Yeah.
And do you get any offers from Ocean, Volvo Ocean Race teams or Amoca teams? Because you've been out there by yourself, and that's a fair bit of experience in itself.
Yeah, but well, the IMOCA teams, they are just starting now for the Vendée Globe, so the teams were completely done. And then no, for the Volvo Ocean Race, I mean, it's quite complicated for the moment. We don't know which teams are gonna be on the starting line. There's gonna be just one new boat built for this race. I think it's quite complicated for the moment to say that I'm going to do a race in 4 years. I mean, it's not so easy.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think I want to finish on with one question. You're out there in the middle of the Transat by yourself. Is there a scary moment where you go, I've had enough, I don't want to do this, take me home?
Yeah, exactly. The phrases I think when I'm scary, it's take me home, like you said. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm enjoying this. It's like a game, and yeah. I mean, you are really happy. I'm really happy when I'm doing this, and but you never think that it can be dangerous. I mean, I'm not crazy. You are sailing well. I'm not doing crazy stuff, but you never think that it can be really dangerous. And but sometimes the sea reminds you that actually you are there because the sea it's nice with you, but if he gets angry, you can really get scared. And it happens to me during the first leg of the SAS 2018. SAS was a race from the Sable d'Olonne to Azor.
Okay.
And in the middle of it, we hit a really low depression system. And I mean, we knew that there was a lot of wind, but we didn't know exactly how much. And the more northern you were, the more of the wind and waves there were. So I was the northern of the group, so I was really scared. And I mean, when the wind just to increase and also the waves, and you get, I mean, there you say, okay, now it's the limit, now it's okay. That's fine for me. And you hope that it's not gonna be worse. And there it was the most scary moments for me.
Fair
Because
enough.
you actually you don't manage a lot of this. I mean,
So my last question I like to finish all my interviews on is, what advice would you give to someone who's about to step into the mini class and do some solo sailing? Like, what's the best tip you could give somebody?
the best tips I can give somebody is just to have a lot of fun, because actually it's the best boat ever, I think. It's gonna be the best sailing of your life. No, man, I am serious about this, because in the mini you are just starting. It's not still a work. You are full of passion. It's gonna be good.
Perfect. All right. Well, look, thank you very much, Amigro, for jumping on board, and Elisa for jumping on board.
Thank you. Thank you,
Ambrogio. Ambrogio, it's been fantastic. I really appreciate it, and you've taught me a lot because I don't know anything about minis. So it's been fantastic.
That's good. Thank you very much.
Super.